fire's died down and the guests are full, the only thing left to do is enjoy the company. Best done with a fresh cigar and a cold drink. This is After the Cook.
How we doing today, baby? How are we doing today? My man, the Barbecue Buddha, and myself, Dark Side of the Grill. Thank you for joining us for another episode of After the Cook. How you doing, baby?
So excited. This is a guy that we've known for a long time. BGE Team Green, founding member, celebrity chef, David Rose is going to be on our call today on our podcast, and I'm so excited.
I'm pumped too, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been digging through some old recipes and stuff like that. I got to pounce on him about some wood questions and stuff. He's an absolute all-star. He's definitely bigger than your average bear, right? So this is gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait, man.
There's always a lot of crazy talk going on in barbecue, but that's one dude that I definitely am not. I'm always yes sir, no sir. How are you doing, sir? Can I get you some more charcoal, sir? He is swole. He's swollen, as big as you could possibly be. Don't know how he does it. I want to find out all about that, but I'm always very nice because literally I think he could probably take me out with a pinky, yeah. And that's about all I'm going to be able to handle.
That's
David.
Isn't that the truth, man? Isn't that the truth? So how you holding up, brother? How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. You know, we're going to get into this in a little bit, but I just got back from a great event in New Orleans. I saw that you were in Phoenix this weekend doing an event yourself, and looked like you had a miserable day of travel getting back from there. I mean, are you even back? It looks like you're back, but that may be a fake background.
I'm back. I'm home. Thank the maker, I'm home. But every once in a while, coming back to Canada, man, and something just one little gear does a little turn, and then the entire show just falls apart. I ended up, I was in Phoenix, flying out to Calgary, I was flying out to Edmonton was the plan, direct flight, leaving at 5:25 a.m., so I get there at 3:30, right? You know, I like the red eyes, man. I like, because then I'm home by noon, right? It's fantastic. It's nice and easy, so that's a good time for me. I could sleep on the plane.
Did you even go to sleep the night before?
I did.
Did you just stay straight up and then go right?
I slept for 2.5 hours, and I slept in a very chaotic state because we had a wild night right before I went to bed. So it was crazy. But whatever. I got up. I got to the airport, get there, 4:30, standing at the gate, 5:25, it departs, right? And delayed. And then we're going to have to book you another flight. And I was like, what? Here we go, right? And they got my bag already, and you know me and bags, and then whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then they ended up having to send me to Calgary, and then Calgary to Edmonton. It was a 12-hour delay for the flight to Calgary. And then when I got to Calgary, the flight was delayed another 3 hours. I didn't get home until 2 o'clock in the morning, man.
Jeez, did they ever explain why the original delay or mishap? I mean, was it weather? Was it planes? Or is it just...
It's scheduling inconsistencies. I don't know.
Man.
Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you ever consider going to the airport hotel? Or,
well, here's the thing.
It looked like from your stories that you just sat in the airport and lamented.
To get anywhere in Phoenix, an Uber ride is $60 to $80.
Right.
So now you weigh that to whatever lunch is going to be outside of the airport, or you could just sit there and get lunch in the airport and just be miserable. So I did my best to stay positive. The Instagram jumped on there and whatever, right? So that was good. But it was a long, it was a 23 hours in the airport, man.
Yeah. Did you get some sleep? Are you?
I got a couple hours on top of the sunburn and everything else that's going wrong here. It's been a trip, man. It's been a trip.
Do you have? I don't even know that Canada or Canadian people have aloe available to them. I couldn't imagine you ever needing aloe. But do you have aloe at your local grocery stores or convenience stores?
I believe so. Yes. I also have a gigantic plant for my grandmother, an aloe vera plant, but not enough to. Just like when I got my...
Great visual. All I'm thinking now is you turning to the camera in your robe, dropping the robe down, slow motion, Marvin Gaye music playing, and then taking this live hunk of aloe, it just squeezing it down your back in slow motion, aloe dripping down your back. Dude, if you don't make that happen, you are crazy. You're missing an opportunity.
That's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, we're very excited for our guest today. This is going to be such a blast. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on whatever platform you found us on. We're on all of them, so get onto that and show some love. Hit us up in the comments, because the more you guys download and the more you guys comment, the more we're going to keep doing this stuff. And the harder we're going to dig for big guests like this huge bugger right here. So, yeah, we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, this is really good. I mean, if people forget what this is all about, this is what a day in the life is with a pitmaster or a group of pitmasters after they've done a bunch of cooking all day long at home or at an event, sitting around smoking cigars, shooting the shit, talking about everything underneath the sun. And we're always glad to have a great guest like Chef Rose join us to do just that.
And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Chef David Rose.
I feel like we need one of those Super Bowl, like what do you call the sign language, American Sign Language people, like dancing in the corner here.
A little ASL action.
A little ASL action. We need like one of, they're becoming superstars. They like do the dance. They get all into it. I'm like, man, I missed my calling in life. That would be a good gig.
Did you see that movie, Coda?
Yes.
It was really good.
That, Mel, have you? I know you're not a big movie, but Coda, I think it was like an Apple TV original, and it was one of the first like streaming services to win a bunch of awards. But it's from the perspective of a guy that's on the road. He's like a punk rock drummer with his girlfriend, and he starts getting tinnitus.
No, that's a different one. That's the Sound of Music or something, or Sound of something. Coda's the one with the family. Where the family, everybody's deaf except.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah,
that was good, but the one you're talking about is good.
Yes. Well, I just was all ramped up for a good story, and much like David's sleeves, I have nowhere to go. Yeah. There's zero place to go with this.
Let's get right into this. How's the weather in Atlanta right now, brother?
As you can tell, it's like 30 below, so I'm dressed appropriately. No, man, it's been raining a lot lately. It actually hailed last week, but today it's pretty sunny, a little overcast, 75 degrees,
that's the one.
Slightly cloudy, chance of showers around 4 p.m. Back to you, Diane.
I'm like all of a sudden envisioning Jordan's going to put like this like weather graphic in the background,
Hurricane Gabrielle is coming through the west coast coming through.
You guys have quite the pollen problem down there, eh?
Man, it's covered out here, yeah. Like I washed my car on Saturday by that evening it was already covered.
That's the trippy thing about Florida. When I first moved down here 3 years ago, I never thought about the spring as earlier. So we get like all of our pollen and stuff at early February. So we get it like 6 to 8 weeks before the rest of you all do, and it's miserable. It's terrible.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm from Jersey originally, the Garden State, and every single species of flowers you could think of. Never had allergies to pollen until I moved to Atlanta. And they're just kicking my ass, So like that first 2-3 weeks, I got to adjust. So I drink a lot of raw honey. So that kind of helps. It helps a little bit.
Well, that's neat. I've heard about the bee pollen before. That's people are quite big on that up here. We have we have tons of bees, tons of bee farmers. So that's awesome.
You have bees
up in Canada, eh?
We do. That's it. They're only around for 3 months of the year, but they're busy.
I was gonna say, how do they survive up there? What do they do?
I don't know, man.
They're like, it's too cold, I'm out of here.
Yeah, bouncing. They migrate. They're the only insects that migrate out of Canada.
That's it.
Good to see you guys, though, man. Everything good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. Happy to hear, man. Happy to hear.
Yep.
I just spent the weekend with Bob Atkinson. He says to say hello.
Bobby, I spoke to him last week. That's the homie right there. That's my riding buddy.
Yeah, we need to get into that a little bit. You need to tell us a little bit about your story about cruising. I think you all drove in like 10 days across from Atlanta to the West Coast and then back again.
5 days there, 5 days back. I would have liked to kind of, slow it down a little leisurely, but, I don't have, Bob doesn't have that leisure because he's married.
Yeah.
So, like, every day his wife was like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? I wanted to make a detour to Vegas, but the wife wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Next time, maybe.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. Bob showed me pictures of your guys' trip, and right away he's like, "Look, he's as big as the bike." I'm like, "I've met him, Bob. I know. I've met him, Bob.
Good old Bobby.
Yeah. He's an absolute gem. I love him. Every time I see him, my day gets better. So
There you go, man. I have the same feeling as well, dude.
So Jersey, Bergen County, oddly enough, that's where all my dad's side of the family is. My aunt.
Oh, really? Where from? Which exit? That's the joke people always
So
say.
I was born, if you could believe this, I was born in Westwood, New Jersey. And
Really?
then all of my family is either in Tenafly, New Jersey, or they're all the first generation Italians that came over in the Bronx and eventually went out to the burbs in New Jersey. So yeah, I still have a ton of family up. In fact, I think my aunt is an actress in a local theater group, the Bergen County Players, I think is the name of their theater group. So, yeah.
You're lying to me right now.
I am absolutely not. So when I was doing a little research on you this morning and I saw that you're from Bergen County, I was like, holy cow, that's where Andrea is from. So,
Ask me which high school I graduated from.
What high school did you graduate from?
Tenafly High School.
Oh, my God. Wow. Well, there you
What
go.
are the chances of that, dude?
I mean,
I was born in Inglewood, raised in Teaneck, but went to school in Tenafly.
So people now watching this are going to say they look a lot alike, they cook on Big Green Eggs, and they're from the same place in Jersey. They must be twins, you know.
Must be related.
Yeah.
I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're DeVito.
I'll take that.
Yes, man. So, yeah, man. How long you guys been doing this for now?
This has been, I'd say, eight months now. We've been doing this just on and off. Every time we get a chance, we cut an episode here and there. It's been really good. The goal is actually to bring this out so like Eggtoberfest, right?
Yeah.
And we'll try and get a bunch of people together and do this actually live right after the festival. Sit down and go through your day while you're still pumped, full of energy, but winding down, right? That's the whole point of the thing. So yeah.
Mel started this during the pandemic as a way to keep everybody engaged and to sort of, hey, this is what we've been doing, cooking from home, showing what we're doing from home, and then let's get together and sort of have a cigar and a drink after the cook. And then that grew from that into this illustrious podcast that you are a guest on today.
So hold on, I heard cigar and drink. I got that memo. Am I the only one drinking today? Like, is that maybe an alcoholic? What's going on? Where are your beverages at, gentlemen? Where are you supposed to?
Well, I'm representing here, and Mel. I mean, Mel is like permanently pickled. He's like a pickle.
Oh, I see the bar back there. Okay,
yeah.
What are we drinking from the selection today, Mel?
So, to be honest with you, David, I just climbed out of the ditch. I had a 23-hour mishap at the airport from Phoenix to Edmonton yesterday, and I literally just got out of bed. So I'm just trying to get back in my you know how this goes, man. It's been chaos, man. It's been just wild. 23 hours.
You need some hair of the dog.
Yeah, exactly. 23 hours from Phoenix to Edmonton has just been something else. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, brother.
What do they say? Better late than never.
That's right.
Beat the alternative.
Better in than out. All of the same. Yeah, that's.
That kind of stuff always drives me crazy because I like waking up and bitching about everything, right? Because it's just our God-given right being human beings on this planet. You wake up and you complain. That's just it. It's the life of scarcity. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough stuff to do. It's time to complain. And then when somebody looks at me and goes, well, aren't you just happy to be alive today? I'm like, God bless. Why did you have to bring me back down to earth and make me realize how like happy and like I just want to complain about stuff and then you get
that's
brought back to reality.
There we go. Basil Hayden today. That's
there you go. Hey, come on. Cheers, salute. Thanks
Cheers,
for having
gentlemen.
Me, Cheers. Health, wealth, prosperity.
That's it. I was just in Phoenix on the weekend there, and I hit a cigar bar, Trevor's Cigar Bar and Lounge, right? And the old fashions were so good that I disappeared like 20 of them. It was one of those nights. I bought a few cigars bought a few cigars out of the humidor, thinking like I'm going to bring a few of these back, right? And then you end up having such a good time, you just smoke and drink everything. It's like, okay, well, this didn't work at all. This 2-hour tour turned into an entire evening affair, right? So, yeah.
But did you enjoy yourself?
I did so. I did so.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
More
go.
than I should have probably. But yeah, that was a good time. It was a good time.
So are you still doing the TLC thing? When I was reading about you, I thought that was such a great concept, your TLC.
Yep.
Man, that thing was so awesome, and I've been doing it. I was doing it for a long time, like back since 2012. I started doing it, and then just pretty much developed a huge, great network of different cigar distributors, cigar owners, local cigar shops, stuff like that. And just through kind of it came about organic, where I was like, I love food, I love cigars. I love to drink, so let's combine all three. And I had the great opportunity of working with Camacho and Davidoff on a huge campaign a couple years ago. It was a 2-3 year campaign and started ramping up even more. But I've just been so busy lately. I haven't had a chance to really get back into it in the last 3 years, but it's something definitely I want to, venture back out and do, man, because, it's the great denominator, food, cigars, liquor. We're here right now talking about cigars, food, and liquor. So, it brings everyone together. So TLC will return one day.
That's
hopefully sooner than later.
Tastings, libations, and cigars. I think that's what the
You got
TLC
it.
stands for. Okay.
You got it. I might upgrade to TLCW. Any guesses on what the W might stand for?
Weightlifting?
That would be nice, but counter-effective with the liquor. Women.
Oh, there you go.
Women.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's
We'll see.
I don't know how that'll fly, but it's still kind of running through the mill right now in my head. We'll see what happens. But TLC will return for sure.
So I have to ask, David, your top 5 cigars, what would they be?
Great question.
Top 5 cigars. That is a great question. Funny you asked that. Do either of you read Cigar Aficionado magazine?
I
do.
A few.
Yes, I actually was featured in there recently. They asked celebrities, what their favorite cigar was. So I was in there. Ray Lewis is in there. So that was super cool. The owner of, I think, the Hyatt or the Lowe's Hotel, I forgot. But my favorite cigar actually is the Padron Anniversary Edition.
Nice.
That smoke right there is so money. It's like one of those cigars, like where you get it, like the feel of it.
Yep.
It's nice and firm, a little bit of crystallization from the aging process, and just that smoke, that draw. It's like butter. Like the first time I ever smoked it, I just kind of had to stop and just absorb and just soak in that moment because it was so good. So that's one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
I love the Davidoff catalog. So the Late Hour, the Winston Churchill is very good.
Yep.
I like their Escudo as well. I like a nice kind of, spicy, bold, sometimes punch in your mouth kind of cigar. So like, they have a really good, Maduro with the Camacho line as well.
Yep.
Drew Estate.
Yep.
Absolutely love their line, the Flying Pig, anything from the Liga Privada line. So, I'm a big fan of them, man. And I just love a good cigar, man. And I think with me, I really like to kind of say, like, when you're having your dinner, you have your appetizer, your cocktail, your main course, your dessert, then you have a cigar and your cocktail after that, got to have the after dinner drink.
Yep.
And that is kind of like, that really kind of finishes off and sets the tone of the evening and just, helps the digestion process. At least for me, it does.
Yep.
And it just really completes everything.
Well, that's
So it comes full circle.
That's it. Well, Chris
100%.
spent a ton of time in Louisville, so he knows a little bit about that splash at the end of the night. Right?
There you
a
go,
lot
there
of bit
you
about
go.
that splash at the end of the night for sure.
All right, so I got to ask you two, what are your favorite cigars?
Honestly, so in Canada we get a lot of Cubans still, right? So you still get the nice ones, the Monte Cristos, the Cohibas, the like Maduro 5, right? The green label Maduro 5. You give me that and a beach, and I'm done. Like that is my last meal right there. We're good.
I love that, man.
But for me, I'm a sucker for anything like a nice spicy Maduro, right?
Yes.
The Camacho, they did the bourbon barrel. Like absolutely perfect. But yeah, I tend to coin this. Our taste buds are a bit different because we're into barbecue all the time. Mm-hmm. Right, so you find we like that spicy bourbon, we like that spicy cigar. We got to accentuate that above and beyond what most people would. So,
and it's funny you say that. I'm actually smoking one of those Camachos right now, the American whiskey aged in the Corojo.
Yep, that's the one.
So
right
look
there,
at that, man. Hey,
that's
great minds think a lot, dude.
That is a
That's like the stars aligning on that one. Well, it's funny you mentioned Camacho. I was a casual cigar smoker until I had my very first Camacho Triple X Maduro, and the experience that you just described, David, is what happened to me. I was like, holy shit, this is what a cigar could be like. This is what it's like.
Yeah.
It was big. It was bold. I got that nice tobacco high. I mean, it was everything that I love about cigar smoking. The only problem with a cigar like that is it sets the bar at a very different level. So now whenever I smoke cigars or I like cigars or I find cigars, my taste and the strength of a cigar is always compared to that. And that's a hard one to top. But
man, no more Philly blunts and Black and Milds for you, my friend. Only Triple X.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? I can't even taste it. So yeah, it's crazy to me.
I love that, man. Good stuff, man. Those are all solid cigars. I'm a fan of, like, I always say this, like, stress will kill you quicker and faster than any cigar will. Yep. So this right here, it soothes me, it calms me down. I can reflect. I could be, chill and just, this is a motorcycle, and I'm a happy guy, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
I can't see you stressed at all.
That's not in my DNA. I got it from my dad. My dad, I kid you not, my father is one of the nicest, most patient, gentle people I've known in my entire life. I've never seen him mad in my entire life. So I guess, I'm very much like him in that regards, where he's very even keel, very much glass is half full, very much the optimist. So I owe a lot of that to him. Mom's kind of spicy. Mom's all of 5'2", 5'3", and she's a firecracker. But Dad, he's Mr. Zen.
Yep. That's awesome.
So here's another thing that I got to dive into, and I know Mel has a bunch of questions on this as well. Your parents, so you were born in Jersey or you were born in the States, but your parents are Jamaican, your family's Jamaican. So we have another tie-in. See, this whole Danny DeVito twins thing is going to happen here. My wife and I got married in Ocho Rios, Jamaica, back in 2009. Yeah. And up until the pandemic, we went back every year on our anniversary we started going in the grill and celebrating our anniversary. So we consider ourselves Jamaicans, and I love the great nation of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica. So what parish is your family from? Where in Jamaica are you from? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like literally everybody in my immediate family is Jamaican. So mom, dad, I'm the baby of 8. So 7 kids, everybody except me was born here. So everybody's like, a year or two gap in between each other. And then they come to America and there's a 9-year gap with me. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't planned, but between you, me, and the screen, I'm still the favorite. But mom, she was from St. Anne, like near St. Elizabeth, up in the mountains from a place called Artes. And Jamaicans, for some reason, don't pronounce the H if it starts off with a word. So it's Heartease, but the, Jamaican way is Artes, you know? So nothing but only 2 things up there. Livestock, plants, and weed.
I love the way you differentiate plants and weeds. So,
like, mango trees, all that stuff. Yeah. But like, it's so beautiful, so serene, so chill. Right. And my mom, she's one of 13. So big Jamaican family, and they just kind of lived off the land. My grandparents were farmers, so what they butchered, what they killed, what they picked, what they cultivated, they ate. So everybody can cook on both sides of the family. And dad is from Kingston, so the capital right there, smack dab, city boy. And they actually met when my uncle, he was a chef also, he had a restaurant in Kingston. So a couple of my mom and her siblings moved down, and they were working there. They were helping cook, and there were waitresses and waiters. And my dad was working in a factory nearby, and he'd always come in for lunch every day after his shift, and he'd request my mom. So my mom could obviously tell. My mom was a hot girl. She still is a hot girl, even though she's 76. And she could tell he wanted to say something, but he never took initiative. So one day she was like, "You're going to ask me out or what?" And, the rest is history. And, my parents met as a result of food. My parents are chefs. So I'm a product of chef baby making, and I'm a product of food love. So food layers up and just has so many different levels as it correlates to my life, and good food is a reason why my parents connected.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that. I absolutely love
Jamaica. I love that, man. So good jerk chicken then.
I know good jerk chicken.
Good jerk spots.
Yeah, and you know what I thought, and this is the thing that still stumps me to this day. And if you like this idea, we could partner up. I'll be like the Danny DeVito role, of course. I'll defer to your giantness. But why aren't patties a bigger deal in America? Like, I go to Jamaica, and when you get a good patty, it's a transcending experience. I'm like, oh my God, the flaky crust and the stuffing inside and the curry and the delicious. And I'm like, the possibilities are endless. The dipping sauces, the fillings, the different crusts. A patty restaurant would be, or a chain, or it would be such a big deal. But you only find them in like small Jamaican neighborhood restaurants, which are great and everything. But I think they could be a big culinary thing here in the States.
You know what's funny? And you nailed it with the flakiness. If you don't have a lap and a face full of flakes, if you're getting a beef patty and you're not burning your tongue when you eat a beef patty, I don't want it. It's got to be like volcano temperature, and it's got to just be flaky, just disintegrate all over you. That is a good beef patty. But as far as a chain, there actually is a chain. It just depends where you are. This chain called Golden Crust. And they started out only making beef patties. So they're very big in the tri-state area. You can find them everywhere in New York and New Jersey. And you can find them also here in Georgia as well. So there actually is a couple different patty shops and franchises. I just think that they're mostly centralized in the tri-state area and southeast Georgia area as well. So there's a couple. Might not be in Florida, but you could definitely find a couple down there.
Neat. Do you have a good patty dough recipe or just a patty, is it in your book, Egan?
I am not going to lie to you. In all the years I've been cooking, as many patties, as many thousands and hundreds of thousands of patties I've had, I've never attempted to make it. And a friend of mine sent me a patty video from TikTok, and he actually braised oxtails and put it in the beef patty.
Nice.
So the gears are already kind of rotating. And you just kind of solidified that, so we're gonna make that happen in the near future.
There you go.
And you get that, when you get that hot beef and the peas and the flaky crust, and then it's going to be so hot. So to cool it off, you put on that like triple habanero pepper sauce, not to cool it off from a spicy perspective, to cool it off from a temperature perspective. Now you got all sorts of stuff going on your face and in your face. I love a Jamaican patty with a red stripe beer, and then some of those plants, like the mangoes. I don't know what you were thinking, but like the mango plants.
You are in Jamaica, so hey,
it's legal there now, or it's decriminalized. Last time I was there, I was hiding it, and everybody was like, "You don't need to hide it anymore. You could just do it out by the pool." I was like, "Oh, cool." Smoke ganja. That's all right. I'm like, that works for me.
I know it does. Yeah, man. But like Jamaican food is like my soul food. It's the food that I grew up on, so that's why there's a huge influence in my style of cooking, even though I'm classically trained, where that's food I identify with at such an early age, and I wanted to put that and then expose that and share that in Egan. So I'm so glad you're a lover of Jamaican food.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Salute, my friend. Salute.
Yep.
Respect.
What about you, Mel? Are you a fan of Jamaican food as well?
Huge, man, huge. I like spicy. I've always been a huge fan of jerk and your stewed goat, stuff like that. When you guys are talking about patties, there's a huge Jamaican culture up here, right? And it's not just because it's weed's free legal up here either. It's a whole other thing, right?
Man, Toronto, huge Caribbean, huge Caribbean population.
Oh, huge, man. Like when Buddha was talking about beef patties, I can think of 6 places within 5 blocks of here I can get beef patties right now, and they're like proper, spicy, the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Right? So that's a neighbor just a couple doors down from me had his mom bring up Scotch bonnet seeds for me. So I grow my own Scotch bonnets because when you go to the store, they're like mixed with habanero or something. They're not the same. Like these are
not the same.
Yeah, these are like proper like little pumpkins that'll just knock you right on you, and they're fruity, but they're hot. And that's perfect. So I grow my own Scotch bonnets and stuff, and
that's awesome. And the great thing about Jamaican food, it's not just like spicy for the sake of being spicy.
Exactly.
It's spicy with a purpose, and the flavors are so nuanced where it's more than just spicy, where you have in let's just take jerk marinade. You got the allspice, you got the cloves, you got the pimento, you got the Scotch bonnet, you got the ginger, you got the scallion or green onion, and you have the garlic and well there where it's spicy, but it's flavorful, it's delicious, it has depth. And it's also going to make you sweat a little bit. So it's the best of all worlds,
That's my favorite expression is when you're out on a date, right? and you see the date go like, and then they go back for another bite. That's, it's hot. For sure it's hot, but they're already trying to get back in there. So that's, and then you won. That's it right there. So I love it.
Yeah. I love spicy food, man. Like, it's that endorphin kick, or like, it's spicy. It might hurt a little bit, but it's a good pain.
Yep.
It's a good pain. Does that make us masochists?
Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
that make us
exactly.
culinary masochists? I like the pain.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, man. We do that's the joke all the time with Mama when we go down to and you get the curried goat over rice, right? And you're like, where's all the meat? Did the kids eat all the meat already? All we got left is bones in here. Come on, where's the
Nothing
meat?
but bones. Nothing but bones, man. Nothing but bones,
Where's the meat
man.
at? And she always laughs. She's like, I dug in there a little bit earlier. Just it's good time. I love it.
I love that, man. So when we go to Jamaica again, gents, I was there for New Year's 2022. Have not been there in about a little over a year. So I'm kind of overdue for a trip this time. No. So let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bucket list for me, man.
Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you haven't been?
I've never been.
You haven't been? Come on, Chris. What are you doing, man? You got to bring your buddy here.
I try, but Mel is a busy guy, I mean, but us going, now that would be a show. The three of us going to Jamaica, touring Jamaica, and interviewing jerk chefs and doing the whole thing would be awesome.
Yeah.
I've always, you're going to Jamaica and trying to go, especially Westmoreland Parish, you're going out into town, downtown the grill, and finding the best Jamaican jerk spots and the ones that literally you hear this all the time. You're like, yeah, everybody says that.
Yeah.
But there'll be like drum cookers just on the side of the road that the taxi cab guy will be like, that's where you go. We're going to go there. And you just sit there and they're cooking over. And all those thoughts are going in your head as like, a lily white American. I'm like, is this going to be safe and all that stuff? He's like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And you eat it. Yeah. And it's such an amazing experience. You can drink the red stripe and you're like, this is what life is all about. Well, so yeah,
a little white rum too, maybe if you're interested too. But like that's where the best jerk chicken is. The further you get away from the touristy areas, the resorts, the hotels, the better it's going to be. And like you said, man, where the taxi cab drivers or the locals eat those little off the cut, very inconspicuous little drums, where they hollow out like repurposed oil drums. Clean it out obviously first. But those are the best, man, where you have the pimento wood, like, about 6 inches from it. Yeah. You put the little shingle over that, man, and that smell, that aroma, it's just intoxicating. Like, remember those Pepe Le Pew cartoons?
Oh, yeah.
Where like he'd smell the perfume and like he just kind of like he would just floats in the air. It's that kind of thing.
It's the best. It's the best. Yeah. I got to go to Jamaica now. And when you said about the rum, Mel, let me tell you about this. They do not play around with the rum in Jamaica. No. They have this stuff, overproof rum, which is like 150 proof. And then the first time I went to Jamaica, I learned the lesson the hard way. It was New Year's Eve, and they were all like, let's do the show. Everything in Jamaica is named Bob Marley, right? Because of Bob Marley, right? And they're like, let's do these shots, Bob Marley's. I'm like, okay. And it's these 3 different types of overproof rum, a red, yellow, and green, because it's the colors of Jamaica. And so you look at this drink, and you're like, holy shit, this is going to be good and tasty, like a fruity, shot. You drink it. No, it's red, yellow, and green. That's about as fruity as it gets. It's just 150 proof, 3 different types of rums that are red, yellow, and green. And you drink this stuff, and like I was clean shaven before I did the shot and grew a beard immediately. I mean, the second the alcohol hit my system, it aged me 3 years. I was like, oh boy, it's no joke.
Oh, I love it.
That's the sound of good rum.
It's a great rum.
Before this, I just had a little mustache.
Right.
Now you see where I'm at now, dude. So,
he had
pudding,
sleeves.
He's
Yeah. No, I am.
The pudding, man. But
I'm a huge fan of the Jamaican rum. I am a huge fan. I love the palate of it all together has always been. So that's definitely a bucket list stop for me. My neighbor always tells me, he's like, there's nothing crazier than going early morning up into the hills, grabbing something, piece of fruit right off of the tree and just standing there and just biting into it with that view and the mist. Everything is just perfect. He's like, you won't beat that. So I trust him.
It's a beautiful place, man. I'm giving you 2 years to go to Jamaica.
100%.
That's your timeline.
Yep.
So what is it now? April 4th?
Yep.
You got till April 4th, 2025 to make it happen, Mel.
Done.
Right, I'm locking it in right now, Mel. I've got to be with you when you go to Jamaica for the first time. 100%.
Let's do it.
Let's make it a trip. Let's make it a trip.
We're just one click
So
away, baby.
Jamaica, Bergen County, Le Cordon Bleu. Why don't you kind of weave the tale about how you go from chefy parents and that life to New Jersey that drove your passion to go to Atlanta to seek your fame and fortune in the culinary world?
Yeah, man. So, like, long story short, Jamaicans, we love to eat, drink, dance, have a good time. And I remember some of my fondest memories growing up were always surrounded around food because food is joy, food is happiness. And, like I said, my mom's one of 13, dad's one of 9, and everybody kind of congregated in New Jersey. So, my aunts and uncles had 5, 6, 8, 10 kids. Their kids have 3, 4 kids. So imagine these gatherings of 80 to 120, sometimes 150, 200 in one place, sandwiched into a house. They're in a backyard, or sometimes we'd rent out VFWs because there was so much of us. Yeah. And everybody in some capacity in my family can cook. And just being exposed to those flavors, those varieties of food, being in the tri-state area, which you could pretty much get anything in New Jersey, New York: Italian, Japanese, French, Thai, sushi, Korean barbecue, and just being exposed to all of that. I've always loved food, and actually one of the first things I ever made was French toast when I was 5 years old, and I didn't burn it, and it tastes pretty good. So I was like, okay, I guess I can kind of do that. So mom was a chef at a nursing home, and dad was a chef at a villa for nuns. So they'd always bring me to work every once in a while, and just kind of seeing them take these raw ingredients and feed 200-300 people, and just the admiration and love they got. Just seeing that, I guess, subliminally, that kind of planted a seed in my head. And my very first job, I was 12 years old or 13 years old, and I worked as a room service attendant at the Radisson Hotel in Inglewood, New Jersey on Route 4. Do you remember that, Chris, that place, Radisson on Route 4? Okay, so I worked there, very first job. And since then, I've just kind of worked in every single position, literally, in hospitality, where after that I served, I bar backed, I was a bartender, and just worked every front of the house position. Moved to Atlanta. I was 21, and my cousin was working here at the time. He was at this restaurant called Justin's. And Justin's was Sean P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever he's going by these days, but Diddy's restaurant. Right. And in there you'd see every Falcons player, every Hawks player, rappers, actors, the whole nine. And I'm 21. I don't know about you guys. When I was 21, I was girl crazy. So came down, and I was like, man, there are so many beautiful women. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to move down here. My cousin was like, no, you're not. I'm like, listen, I'm going to move down. So it's my 21st birthday, February 23rd, 2003. And I moved down, packed my little cherry red Mustang up, and moved down to Atlanta. And I was bartending. So I'm trying to figure out my next step, bartending. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to bartend forever. I've always liked cooking. So I was sitting watching TV one day, and I saw a commercial for Le Cordon Bleu. And it said, Le Cordon Bleu, realize your culinary dreams. And I was like one of those kind of aha moments, like a light bulb kind of went off on my head. So I checked the campus out. I took a tour, and I was hooked. And the rest was history, man. So, prior to that, the words David Rose, scholar, academia, great grades, oil and water. They did not mix. Yep. But I tell you, when I started going to culinary school, I absolutely loved it. We had different type of meat butcher classes where we broke down whole pigs, whole sides of cows. We had garde manger classes where it's like cold side of cooking, where it's like old school stuff like aspics and mousses and stuff like that. We're carving ice, baking, wine and alcohol knowledge, literally everything you need to know to be an accomplished chef, as well as the business I learned. And I graduated summa cum laude, top of my class, and just the rest is history. And my very first job was at the Four Seasons Hotel. This is a full circle moment. Yep. Four Seasons Hotel. And I was there for about a year. And I didn't feel inspired, just very kind of, run-of-the-mill, very basic kind of food and just very redundant. So I gave it a year. And I told my chef, I was like, Chef, I love cooking. I thank you for the opportunity. But I think at this point, I'm going to go out, venture out, and cater and personal chef and do my own thing. And I remember this conversation like it was yesterday. He said, if you leave now, this will be the single biggest mistake of your entire culinary career. Just
Yeah.
like that, verbatim.
Yep.
And I said, chef, with all due respect, I'm going to have to disagree with you.
Yep.
So I ventured out, started doing my own thing, different football players, different athletes, lawyers, and I went back to Cordon Bleu to kind of, do some demos, give back to the kids. And at the time, Big Green Egg was doing a relationship, sort of a kind of externship using interns and stuff like that. So I kind of had just a passing encounter, went to the original location, not too far. It was like
Right.
2 blocks from the Cordon Bleu.
Yep.
In Tucker, Georgia.
Yep.
And I was like, I'd love to like kind of, learn more about this Big Green Egg. And like, you taste that first bite. I think we all remember our first bite off the egg. It's like your mind explodes, your taste buds, the magic that it creates. I think it was ribs and pulled pork. And I was like, I need one of these. And we started doing events together, became a culinary instructor. And I was at Oktoberfest 2013.
Yeah.
And I saw my executive chef, and I was there. We're in the little VIP section, and it was the Big Green Egg Lifestyle magazine.
Right.
And I had a big spread, big 2-page spread, and he had a little tiny itty bitty spread, like 2 pages after. So I saw him, and all he could do was laugh, and he was like, "You know what? You were right.
Right.
You made me eat my words." And since then, I didn't need the acknowledgement or confirmation, but it did definitely pay off. And now you see all these years, me leaving led to this, so always bet on yourself. And
Wait a
food
minute,
has
show
brought
that
me-
again, David, because you show that book again because you had your hand over your
Again,
face, that pretty
David
face.
Rose
There
cooks
you
in
go.
the Big Green Egg.
Look at that.
my
Oh,
God.
Fidela
You're gonna make me
Snapper.
cry, Val.
And she's
So
already got
always
that.
bet on yourself, man. My dude, always bet on yourself. Never stay in somebody else's shadow. You got to go out, do your own thing, venture out, discover what your calling is, discover what's important to you, discover your style of food. And by me leaving, I did that, So food is great, man. It's the common denominator. And I just love food, the power that food has, the power that food can bring, the sense of community. We're here right now because of food. So I made the right choice, I think.
100%, man. And it's something neat that you said in there. I'm hoping a few of our listeners pick up.
Yeah.
When you felt comfortable, you knew it was time to move.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing, man, because that's, the wild is calling for everybody now. This is a neat thing. It's when you're sitting there and everything's kind of the same, it's time to grow again, right? And that's awesome, man. That's beautiful. You touched on that, brother. I love that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Melon. Like, with my career, like I'm always trying to constantly evolve. If you're staying still, you're going backwards. So like always forward, always figuring out how to raise that level, how to, venture out, how to innovate and just kind of, do it better and just, be your best self every single day.
That's it, man. So we have to jump in here because I'm a big fan. I never even would have seen them if it weren't for you. Talk about your relationship with Omaha Steaks. Those
man. Omaha Steaks. It actually goes back to when I was 8 years old. That very first steak I had was Omaha Steaks filet mignon. And back then, they'd go door to door selling it, in the back of the truck or the van. And I loved it. My dad, he's kind of old school. Jamaicans don't really kind of venture into the rare, medium rare kind of food things. And even at 8, it was well done. It tasted great. But I was like, it tastes good, but this texture, I don't know about this texture. I knew it wasn't a properly cooked steak even then.
Yep.
But it's amazing. I've been with Omaha Steaks. I've been with them since October of 2020. So 3 years now.
Yep.
And it was great where it was a very organic type of relationship where it was built where the new CEO came aboard, new president, and he was trying to shake things up. And he's like, we've had executive chefs in the past, but we never had a spokesperson or a face or a guide to kind of take these people's hands, and show them and guide them. Okay, you have the steak, you have the fish, you have the poultry, you have whatever. I'm going to show you how to make it. And it's been amazing where you can touch so many people through social media, through TV, through commercials, through morning shows, through food. And I'm excited about the next couple of years with them as well. So it's great, man. And it's fun. It's exciting. Portfolio we have, the R&D I do, the recipe creation, the content building. And it just kind of warms my heart because so many people reach out to the company and slide in my DMs and just tell me, thank you so much. And that, more than the money, more than the fame or whatever, that's why I do it, touching people and making their life better because, a lot of people are intimidated by cooking. The simple act of turning a stove on or a grill on, it just like people start to bust out the sweats and they start to break down and just like shake and tremble. But it's not that hard. As long as you know these basics, you could venture off and customize and, make things yourself. And I always say this with any recipe. A lot of people, when they cook something, they say, I followed the recipe step by step, but it doesn't taste like yours. Make the food how you like it. So if you like something spicier, add, some Scotch bonnets, add habaneros, add poblanos. If you like something a little sweeter, maybe a little pinch of brown sugar. If you like something, a little more herbaceous, oregano, rosemary, make it yours. So use that as a template, but make it suited to your taste buds. That's what I'd say about that.
Awesome.
Man, I need to record that and have that as my ringtone.
That's
it. Like so well said.
I'll allow it.
I was like, hello.
Words to live by
if you wanted herbaceous, add some. I'm like, wow. I was I didn't want that to stop. I felt like I was all getting tucked into bed, getting a bedtime story. I was like, oh,
I love it.
Oh, keep talking to me, David. Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
That's the next.
That's great. That is
when Harry met Sally like that. I like that. I'll have what he's at.
That's the one.
Yeah, no, don't even
food
start
makes me
that.
excited. Food makes all of us excited. And the great thing about it is, like, I knew very early on, like, me sitting in a cubicle day in, day out was not for me. Yeah. And, the plate is our palette. We get to create and be as, ingenious and innovative as we want to. And, there is no ceiling. You could go as high as you want and as far and as wide and as vast as your mind can take you and your taste buds can take you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I saw a funny TikTok somebody sent me yesterday, how you could tell what a chef did before they started cooking by the way they put their purees on the plate. Have you seen that one? They're like
I have not. Send me that, please.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They're like the former wallpaper, and they do this, the chef who creates their own specials and makes everybody miserable, and they're doing the puree. It's really hilarious. Yeah, it's good.
Uh-huh.
So, before Mel jumps back in, I have to ask one question that I know everybody wants to ask, but they're afraid. And because, Mel should probably ask this because he's further away, and I'm sort of close to you in Florida here. But when you went to Atlanta and you were bartending at that place, were you already swole? Or did you, what's your swole game? When did that begin? When did you start getting all big David Rose? What was your turning point there? What was the motivation? You got what was your swole game? Literally, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when we first started the pre-interview, when he was in the green room, his shirt was a normal shirt, and then he literally went to grab a cigar, and his sleeves just popped right off his shirt. I don't know how he does it. Look at him. He's swolled up. Now I'm going to go hide in the corner while he answers his question so he doesn't swole me down my head.
What's funny? And if you don't believe, I'll send you pictures. I used to be really skinny kid, like super skinny, like lollipop skinny, where it was all head and like a stick figure body. And I'm the baby. I'm the baby brother. So I got hazed. I got my ass whooped by my brothers. Were like, for no reason, because I shared a room with the brother. Yep. And I was a big video game back then. I had Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Yeah. And I'd be playing, hanging out, doing my thing. He'd come in and he'd be like, turn the game off. And be like, no, I got one more level. He'd punch me in my stomach or push me for no reason. So I was like, I turned 16 and I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to work out. And, it started out with arms, doing curls. Yeah. And I had a little baby Popeye bump. And a girl was like, are you working out? After that, I was hooked. I got a gym membership, started working out, started hitting heavy. Yep. And that very first summer, I started out, I was 135. From June to September, I put on 30 pounds. I'm talking about I was working out 2 days. I'd eat like a big meal, big protein shake, and then go right to bed. And I was skinny, so all I had to go, there was nowhere to go but up after that. So I've been working out for 16 years. I'm 41 now. So I've been working out for more of my life than I've not been working out.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of kids say like, okay, man, I'm gonna work out and look like you next year.
Yep.
You can try, it probably won't happen. But I've been at this for a very long time. But I've been this size probably since I was like early 20s.
There you go.
And over COVID, I got too big. I was too muscular. I couldn't fit any clothes. I could see it a lot in my face. So I went from like 250 at my biggest to 225. And I'm leaner. I feel healthier. I'm not lifting those heavy weights. At my biggest, I was benching 500 for 2. I was deadlifting 600, curling 225, doing 110 dumbbells, but I was always in pain. So I think at this point in my life, I'm at my healthiest version of me. And I think just finding your healthiest version of you is the advice I have for anybody. Don't try to be like anybody aesthetically or, look at a magazine and have, these expectations of doing X, Y, Z, and the third. Try and work on the healthiest version of you.
Nope. I remember in 2019 at Oktoberfest, and Rob's like, "Oh, you want to go meet Chef David Rose?" I'm like, "No. Do I take my shirt off, or like what's the appropriate? Do I approach him from the east, or do I go low ground, or what do I do here? Like this is."
Yeah, that was about like 245, 248 right there. Yeah.
You come around the corner and Chef's cooking, and he just does this, and then the egg opens. He doesn't even open the egg with his arms. He just does a flex, and the egg opens. It's afraid. It looks at him. It's like, okay, I'll open up. He doesn't need to burp the egg at all. He just power.
It's customary for me to not wear sleeves at Oktoberfest.
That's exactly.
No sleeves.
I saw a few of his morning segments where he just did a little flick, and the the onions would just peel themselves. It was hilarious. Just crazy.
Did you? So you've been on Good Morning America. Have you been with Strahan?
Oh yeah, the first time I was on there actually about 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm a New York Giants fan.
Okay.
Very unabashed, very unashamed to say that.
Okay.
Hardcore New York Giants fan, and Gronkowski was there. I had no idea he was there.
Okay.
So I was doing the recipe, and here he comes through. Big ball of energy, just very affable guy. And like he comes in, we do a chest bump. I'm feeding him, we're hanging out, talking. And I'm like, I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to like you. I shouldn't like you. I kind of like you. I kind of like you. So that was my first foray into there. And I don't know, I forgot, I don't recollect exactly, but somehow me, Strahan, and Gronkowski were sitting down eating, and the subject of diarrhea came up. So you got me and Gronkowski talking about diarrhea and bowel movements on GMA. And ever since then, they always invite me back.
That's awesome. That's great.
But yeah, man, that was my first foray in there.
So I got one question for you, David, because myself, right, trying to cut down a bit, living a better life, eating a bit healthier. Stop it. I am. Stop it, Chris. So anyways, I'm on the road a lot, right? How do you find the time to be able to keep this up?
Man, you gotta make the time, man. I think people a lot of times, me included, sometimes say, I'm busy, I'm on the road, I can't find time. So every hotel, for the most part, has some type of gym there. And more times than not, it's 24/7. So just making the time and holding yourself accountable. We're saying, okay, it might not be an ideal gym situation, but I'm going to keep moving, whether it be a treadmill, whether it be, those little 30-pound dumbbells, doing some, bench presses, doing some curls, even in your hotel room, push-ups, sit-ups, bands. They have all types of mobile, weight systems and workout systems. So just making time. And if it's something that's a priority for you, people are going to make time. Saying I'm busy, that's not an excuse. Exactly. If you want to do something, come hell or high water, you'll do something. When you were dating her, you could be busy, but you're going to make time because you're like, you know what? She's awesome. She's hot. I see her as my future. Yeah. I'm going to make a way out of some way. So you're going to find a way to make it happen.
Yep. There you go.
I love the way he said little 30-pound weights. I'm like, I'm like, that's a really big, heavy day for me when I'm curling 30-pound dumbbells. I'm like, oh, those little 30-pounders. And then I sat up straight. I was like, yeah, those little 30-pounders. Yeah, those little wimpy weights, So I got to know, does your, I know you've got a fancy new apron out. Did they have to make like the big swole version that fits over you? I mean, how do they fit that apron over Big David Rose?
So funny you say that. Yes, this is the apron right here. It is,
you came prepared. Look at that thing.
For me.
There it is.
For me and DR right there. And we went back and forth as far as the design. They were like, should we put David Rose? And I was like, no. Chefs don't like wearing other chefs' names on them. I'm like, the DR will suffice.
Yep. Right.
But this is iteration number 11. We actually started this journey back in 2017, 18, and I wanted to do it right. Because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to put any BS out there or a subpar product. So with this right here, the great thing about it is it's heat resistant.
Yep.
The fabric right here, it's flame resistant to a degree. Don't put it on the fire on the grill, but if you're standing next to the fire, you won't feel it. It has a three-way 360 kind of stretch where it gives, and doesn't matter how out of shape or in shape you are. When you put this on, you just go ahead, put it on like this.
Okay.
All right. And it just fits like a glove on your body and just really kind of molds to your physique. And the great thing about it is, with straps on aprons, who wants to tie and untie and tie and untie?
Yeah,
actually, back here, I was like, you know what? How about a magnet?
Yep.
So right here, you got the magnet. Just like that.
Oh.
The patch is right there, just like that. Ready? Take that off.
Yep.
And I made this specifically for grilling. It's thin, it's heat resistant, it looks good, and the stains get out very, very easy, very quickly. So this is everything a grill lover, a barbecue lover, a chef, or anybody who likes to cook. I thought very methodically, long and hard about it, and I'm very proud of it. And the company I partner with is Vormy. So you can find this on the Vormy website. And it's something I'm very proud of.
Yep.
That had a lot of thought and thoughtfulness put into it. And if you fancy yourself a grill lover, you need that in your arsenal.
That's awesome.
Can you use that magnet with poultry?
With what now? Poultry?
Poultry? I mean, because
I
when you're wearing it,
so.
it's obviously a chick magnet.
Oh, yeah. I walked right into that one. You might be able to. I'm gonna look into that. I think with you guys, you
come on
can.
now. When the producer purposely comes on just to say boo, you hit a home run right there. That's our social media clip right there, people.
That is a dad joke.
That is the daddest of dad jokes.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I love it. Yes, but I love it, man. I love food, and just like the places it brings you, and the places it's brought me. Food brought us together. So I'm very excited and proud to promote that and talk about that and have that out for purchase.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's
awesome.
Fantastic. So this brings us to the next little segment here. What's next for Chef David Rose? What are we going to be seeing coming down the pipes with you?
Well, there is a lot, man. Well, right now we're in the beginning talks and conversations about some potential product lines within the Omaha Steak brand. So I'm definitely looking forward to that and cultivating that and brainstorming that with them and seeing what that might look like, whether it be spices, rubs, sauces, stuff like that. I think at this juncture, I think I'm ready to start the next cookbook. As Chris can attest to, it's a lot of work when it comes to the cookbook, a lot of tasting, a lot of grilling, a lot of planning, a lot of writing. And the crazy thing, as sure as Buddha can attest this as well, is that, the cooking, I was like, okay, the cooking is probably going to be the most laborious part and, time, consuming part. But the writing, making it thoughtful, making the anecdotes great, people can relate to, was a lot. And I wanted this book to be completely me. So everything in the book, if you know what book you're talking about, if you're just tuning in right now, Egan, recipes, forward, introduction, tips, tricks is all from my fingers. And I want it to be wholly me. So I think this year I'm going to start on the next one. And congrats on your second book as well, Buddha. I'm thinking potentially a children's book as well because I enjoy writing. I enjoy writing a lot. And there are some TV things happening right now I can't discuss, but when I can discuss them, I'd love to come back on and tell you about that. I'm hoping right now, talking to NBC and Macy's about coming back and being on the 4th of July celebration again as well.
Awesome.
And there's some cool things percolating with Big Green Egg too. So there is a lot out there, but as soon as they come to the fruition, to the forepoint, where the ink is dried on the paperwork, I will fill you guys in. But always something going on. Always something going on.
I love it, man. I absolutely
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you, gents. I appreciate it. What about you guys?
Oh,
What do you have going on? Talk to me. What's new in Mel and Chris's worlds?
Always busy. Always busy. Just
Yes.
from one day to the next, travel, right? Seeing stuff, doing stuff.
Yeah.
Next stop is Buddha's place. We're all going to be meeting up at Buddha's place for his book release for number 2.
Yes.
And we're very
I love
excited for that. It's going to be one heck of a party there. So it's always a blast, and it's always a blessing anytime I get to spend any kind of time in person with my man Buddha. And we cook every single minute of every single day, which is always so much fun.
Yeah.
Man, I love that, man. You know, I love the friendship. I can see the love. I'm loving the bromance right here.
Yep.
I'm here for it.
Yep.
It's a big
I'm here for it.
bromance. The only problem is that he's in Canada and I'm all the way down here in Florida, so that doesn't at all. But we're trying to get Mel. Mel is targeting. I think Phoenix may now be an option. California you ruled out, but
really?
Texas or Florida was your number 1 and number 2 with the bullet. We're trying to get him to move down to Florida. I want to open up a place down here with Mel, and that is awesome. That would be cool.
Yeah,
Dude, come on down, man. Would it be like, would work dictate where you went, or just wherever you want to go, you can just kind of drop a pin and go?
We're social media now, man. Work is wherever it takes me. This is it. This is
Yes, entrepreneurship. I'm here for it, sir.
That's it. As soon as you feel comfortable, right? It's time to move again. That's
time
the
to
one.
bounce.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Come on down, brother. Come on down. Come on down to Florida, because I'd love to see and I'd love to patronize Year Two's establishment. So let's make that happen sooner than later.
100%. No, I was getting pretty warm with Atlanta for a little bit there, man. The first time I went to Atlanta and I got out of that city of an airport you guys have, I was like, the cars, man, 30-inch rims on everything. Like I was just, and so then we're driving around. We went to Augusta, and there was a guy. He had like a 1992 Chev half ton that like rolled off the showroom floor, and you could tell this old pops, man, he babied this thing since the day he bought it. Probably paid cash, you know what I mean? And that part. So the cars, the bikes. I'm a huge fan of like car shows and stuff like that up here.
Yeah. And
to see that level of just awesome. So yeah.
We're not playing around.
Hotlanta, man. I love it.
Here.
Hotlanta, I love it, man.
What made you kind of sidestep Atlanta? What happened? You can tell me. It stays here. What happened?
Well, no, it's I don't know. There's a lot of buildings in Atlanta. There's a lot of downtown. You know what I mean? That's I'm more of like if I could be closer to a beach, maybe, or like Texas is like open fields, and Florida's like palm trees and then beach. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think if I moved away from my childhood home, it would have to be kind of like a dream spot. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Right.
So for me,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm having this vision of Mel in that Buc-ee's outfit, the Buc-ee's.
Hold on, what now?
The beaver.
If you haven't seen that when Mel was on the road 6 months ago, he has this video of him in the Buc-ee's beaver outfit and then walking through. So now I'm seeing Mel in that Buc-ee's outfit on the back of Chef David's motorcycle riding around Atlanta.
This is
no, the hell you're not.
So
especially while I'm on it, no.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. The first time I wore a Buc-ee's outfit was in Daytona.
Times?
It was in Daytona on Bike Week.
At Bike Week, yeah.
And I walked out of the Buc-ee's in the beaver outfit, and I walked past, and there was a couple of patch members in the parking lot, and there was a chopper, a raked-out chopper sitting there. And Buddy's like, hey. And I hadn't changed yet. I was walking over to Captain Ron's car to change, right? And the big guy's like, hey, can you do me a favor and get on my bike for me? I'm like, pardon me? You're talking to him, and he's like, the dude in the beaver outfit, can you get on my bike for me? And I was like, man, I don't want no trouble here, you know what I mean? He's like, no, just So I got on there. He took a picture, and then Ron took a picture of me because it's like Bike Week in Daytona. He's like, that's hilarious. I'm going to send this to the wife. And I'm like, well, tell her I'm actually Canadian, too. So the irony is that I'm in a beaver outfit in Daytona for the first time. And he laughed so hard he cried, man. It was funny. There's a picture of me, the big ape hangers, the whole 9 yards, sitting in a beaver outfit.
And
all right. Two things.
All right.
Number one, send me those pictures, please. Number two, give me the backstory. Why A, were you in the Buc-ee's outfit, and why B, have you been in it multiple times? So much to unpack and unload and explain here.
Well,
please.
So if you're ever on the road with Mel, I like to have fun. And this was my first time in a Buc-ee's. Okay. And I just went insane. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. So I was up here, down here, over here, whatever. And the lady's like, if you think that's crazy, we have a full-size grown-up man's beaver outfit. I'm like, no, you don't. And then 2 seconds later, it was on me, and I was walking out the door because that's just how that kind of stuff happens, right?
So you bought it.
The whole 100% I bought it. That was it.
Yeah,
That was
and
it.
uses it.
And yeah,
appropriately uses it.
that was I was standing there with the cashiers, and I'm like, "You're not looking at my tail, are you? Because I got a little beaver tail on it, right?" And I'm flicking it around at them, and they're like, "You are just cute as a button." I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time, dude.
I'm waiting to see this. I cannot wait to see that. That is worth the price of admission for talking to you guys today.
That's the one.
Is that right there? So thank you for that little gem.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of fun when we're together out on the road. So
I love that, man. It keeps you young.
Exactly.
You know, I think when you stop having fun, that's when you feel older.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I'm one of those guys, like one of those old guys, just messing around with the neighborhood kids and playing practical jokes and chasing with my wheelchair, just playing around.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I'm gonna be that guy.
yeah, exactly.
So
You know,
I
I'm here
am
for it. I
an
love
old guy, and I can tell you what, living young is the only thing that's the only option. That's it. Living
Yes.
young is the only option.
That's
Now,
Yep.
as long as living young winds up about 9:30 with a warm glass of milk and a comfortable bed and, you know, my incense burning and a good night's sleep, then I'm living young up until that 9:30 point. But up until then, I'm living really solidly young. Let me just be sure that I tell everybody that. So.
I was about to say you're not old, Chris, but
yeah.
that sounded kind of old.
It sounds old. Well, here's what's really funny. So, not many people know this about me. Well, I guess they do, but I also play music. So, and I was playing a gig a couple weeks ago on the night of the time change, right? Is the time sprung forward. And as I'm performing on stage, my watch started to play literally on stage in front of a group of people, an audience full of people. It started to play a bedtime chime and remind me, Chris, you're getting close to bedtime. You need to prepare for bedtime. So I was embarrassed, and I looked out at the audience, and I was like, oh my God, this is how old I am. My watch is telling me to go to bed. But this time tomorrow night, it'll be 11 o'clock, and I'll be very cool. I'll be up till 11 o'clock. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I'm aging out of this stuff, gentlemen.
Chris, I'm gonna give you a bit of advice. If anything you take from this interview, take this. Never do that again, and never tell anybody that story again. That's my advice to you. If you hear anything else,
I hear you, man. And Jordan's going to edit all of this out. It'll never see the light of day.
No, we'll leave it in this one. But going forward, there'll
be no history of this on the internet at all. So we're fair.
When I set this thing to my bedtime, like my actual bedtime, it literally told me it was unhealthy. It was like I don't want to set that for you. That's not a good idea.
It does that.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what this thing does. Hey, here's a true story. Our neighbors. Okay. Yep. This is a totally true story about an Apple Watch, and I am no way affiliated or promoting Apple Watch at all, but this is a true story.
All right.
The neighbors went to one of these, the cold ice bath is the big deal right now. You take the cold plunge and do like the 56-degree ice bath and stuff. So they went and took this clinic or health seminar or something where they did the cold plunge and then they did a hot plunge. So they did this off and on for this rejuvenating thing. And they were like, I really like it. We're going to try it at home. So they went at home and they got in their hot tub and then they got in their pool. It was a cool night here in Florida and they were doing that for these health benefits. Then they went in to go get ready for bed and all that stuff. And she put on her Apple Watch to get ready for bed. And the Apple Watch detected that she was having a heart arrhythmia. The Apple Watch started going bzz, 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 buzzing and was like, you are having a heart arrhythmia. You need to go to the emergency room right now. She called the ambulance, went to the emergency room. Lo and behold, was having a heart arrhythmia of that Apple Watch. So whatever the cold, hot thing was for her, it put her heart in a weird rhythm. The watch detected it, and it saved her life. Literally a true story that happened 2 weeks ago.
That's insane.
Look at that.
That's insane.
Man,
you can hear the keyboards clicking right now, ordering Apple Watches. Thank you. I get no payment from Apple.
They owe you a royalty check.
They owe me a royalty check for that one. That's for sure.
And while you're at it, cut me and Mel one too.
I love it. I love it.
These eggs are high.
Yeah.
I ain't paying $10 for a dozen eggs.
That's it. I love it. Where is everybody going to find you? Mr. Chef David?
All right, you can find me on all platforms. You can find me on Instagram. I'm very active on there, probably the most. Chef David Rose. That's ChefDavidRose. Chef David Rose on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Even though I don't really use Twitter that much, I can't figure Twitter out that much. But Chef David Rose, you can find everywhere, and you can find Eggin wherever fine books are sold, as well as Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, everywhere. Don't look too hard. If you can't find it, slide in my DMs. I'll tell you where. Might send you a copy.
There you go. And trust me, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
David, thank you very much for joining us today, man. This has been amazing.
This was awesome.
This has been awesome. Yeah.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the love we all share for food, especially the egg. And it was an absolute pleasure. So thank you too.
Right on, brother.
You are the man, Chef David, and I cannot wait to see you, hopefully sooner, but we'll definitely see
Sooner
you
than
at
later.
Oktoberfest 2023, which is now, what, 6 months away, 7 months away?
6
Can't
months
believe this year
away.
is
Time's
going
a ticking.
so
We're
fast.
here. Tickets should be going on sale this summer. Let's make it happen, guys. I'm excited. I'm ready. And cannot wait to do it again and see you too. Those two beautiful mugs.
Right on, brother. Thank you very much.
Well, that was freaking awesome, dude. Chef David was an amazing guest. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's always a good time, man. He's always bringing the heat, which I absolutely love. So, speaking of heat, where were you at this last weekend? Where were you?
New Orleans. I went to cook for this festival. I'm sure you know of it because it's becoming one of the big names in barbecue right now, Hogs for the Cause.
That's the one right there.
It's a very similar style event to Memphis in May, meaning the layout, the turn-in. The difference between Memphis in May and Hogs for the Cause is all of the competitive teams, all of the teams that are there are also vending, because the overall goal for Hogs for the Cause is to raise as much money possible for pediatric cancer. So you have these incredible competition barbecue teams there and doing all of that, like we've seen at these big events that you and I go to. Yep. But in addition to cooking and focusing on their turn-in boxes, they're also hosting, and they have these big parties and that are open to the public, unlike Memphis and May that are closed. You have to know these teams. They're open to the public, and they're selling booze and they're selling food. So some of these booths were insane how cool they were. You walked in, it was like being at a restaurant. So that's where I was. Big Green Egg was one of the sponsors. They had a setup in the VIP area, much like Memphis in May, and I was cooking an array of Snake River Farms products for the lucky attendees at the Boss Hog VIP tent for Big Green Egg. It was a great weekend.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I saw the pictures. Looked like you guys were having just an absolute blast. So that's wicked, man. That's
It was great, and you know, I don't know how to say this without making it awkward, but it was weird doing one of these things without you. You're very used to doing these things without me. I had to get it in. But it was weird for me it was like not having my right arm there. And I literally had to like get myself into game shape because I'm so used to working with you and like what you do and I do and how we do it and what the thing is. And I essentially there were other people. There was Kevin Quigley, his wife Leah, his best friend Phil, and they were from like the local distributor down there. But they were in their own little zone. So they had their own food they brought, and they had their own, and they were cooked. They were like proper Cajun type cooks, so they were cooking like jambalaya and these oysters and this meuniere, you know, this like lemon butter sauce and the shrimp and all this stuff. So they were in their own swim lane, and I was in the swim lane that usually is the swim lane that you and I are in, but it was just me by myself, so I had to do the whole show, and I felt like I held it down. I mustered my very own dark side of the grill and was able to manhandle and load up the Big Green Eggs and throw down. So I would have made you proud, brother. It was a good weekend.
Right on, man. Right on. No, I know. I had some definite FOMO because, you know, me in New Orleans, I love it down there. So it looked like quite the event, and I was missing you. I was missing you a little bit.
You know how you talk about Texas?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about New Orleans. New Orleans is just the city that is me. Yep. I get it. The music, the food, the easygoing nature of everybody there. I mean, it is literally life is first. People lead with life down there, and then everything else falls into place. So it's, they call it the Big Easy for a reason. And every time I go there, the music is insanely good, and it just ticks my music boxes. And then the food and the booze and the people and the wine, women, and song. It's just a town that is very inspiring to me. So it was great.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm so happy you had a good event down there. And I saw tons of people. I saw Anthony. I saw Tina. I saw a bunch of people. So that's wicked, man. That's a good time.
Yeah, Anthony, he said to say hello. Was talking about the event that you were going to do the same weekend of my book release party, but it's been pushed to November. I need to somehow figure out how to get there or get into that. So maybe you can throw me a bone here, dude. But he said to say hello. David Bonner from Green Street Meats. Both of them, I asked them if they wanted to be guests on the show. Both are very into it. So we're, people are lining up to want to be on the show and talk to us on After the Cook. Good. And, just have one little small story from New Orleans that really touched me tremendously on every facet. It was just like one of those, I can't believe I'm like you and I are always like, oh my God, I can't believe we get to do this. This was like the biggest one of those. So this was Hogs for the Cause, the emphasis on raising money for pediatric brain cancer, competition teams all over the place. Imagine Memphis in May in New Orleans is just like that.
Yeah.
They have 3 stages, a little teeny stage, a second stage, and then the big main stage. Our VIP area was right across from the main stage. So it's Friday morning. The festival opens up at, I thought it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're all there, 9, 10 in the morning, getting ready, setting up, getting all the stuff together. We're doing all that. And right around 11:30, 12 o'clock, I started hearing this song. And I was like, these people were playing on the main stage, but the festival wasn't open yet. And I was like, holy cow, that's Anders Osborne, who's a very famous blues, Louisiana type musician in the type of music scene that I like, and playing Lafayette, one of my favorite Anders Osborne songs. So I was like, holy cow. And I looked at Bob and I was like, Bob, can I go up? And he's like, yeah, we're just setting up, getting ready. So I walked up the stage. Well, they were sound checking. So it was Anders Osborne, George Porter Jr., who's a famous bass player, New Orleans bass player, and it was Devin Allman, his band, so Greg Allman's son from the Allman Brothers, and then it just was this amazing lineup of musicians that were the main band that night, but they were there early sound checking. So it was literally having this private concert of some of my most favorite songs from some of my most favorite musicians in New Orleans, one of my favorite places on earth, cooking for Big Green Egg, my favorite cooker in the entire universe, with Bob Atkinson and these wonderful people. And we had a muffalata sandwich from Central Grocery, which is like the most famous sandwich from the original place. And Bob and I were just sitting there eating this muffalata, watching this band play Allman Brothers songs, and I just had a moment. I just was very grateful to be at that spot at that time, and that sums up my weekend in New Orleans. That very moment, it was
awesome,
like that all weekend. So it was great.
You had to throw the muffaletta in there, eh?
It was, and Bob had never had. Bob has been to New Orleans a bunch. He's been to like 13 jazz fests. He spent quite a lot of time in New Orleans, knows the city well. I don't think he's ever had a muffalata, or if he has, he hasn't had one from the Central Grocery. Regardless, it was a pretty fun experience for us to enjoy this big giant sandwich, sitting there watching this music as we were setting up. It was great. It was a wonderful weekend. Missed you though a lot.
Well, there you go. I missed you too, brother.
What happened with you about your Phoenix journey that we should all know?
Phoenix is wild, man. Phoenix is really wild. We ended up in what they call the crack quarter of Phoenix. I don't know if that's a real thing, but there was a Waffle House and a Denny's in the same parking lot as my hotel. And there's cages on everything because it's Phoenix in this quarter, right? And then right across the street was what they call a Castle Megastore. And for anybody that is not aware of Castle Megastore, it is a giant castle the size of Costco, but it's full of adult toys. And I mean scary adult toys. Huge, menacing-looking adult toys. Really freaked me out. And I put a bunch of stories up because I couldn't believe it. And then a lady ran up to me and told me I was not allowed to use a camera because they have very prestigious customers in there. And they do not want to get caught on video. So I quit recording that, but lots of jokes and stuff. It was a good time. I bought some furry handcuffs for the road, right? So that was good.
Yeah, you got to have the furry handcuffs. Any shrunken heads that you...
No, you wouldn't find. No, there was.
I actually looked for. We went into when we were walking around the French Quarter. There was a store that had all of that kind of stuff in there, and I was like, they've got to have a thing like that. So I went in to try to get you a little gift because I missed you, and they didn't have any shrunken heads. They had lots of other stuff, but not that. And
I love it, man. Yeah, I love it. So that was it. I had tons of cigars and drinks in the hot tub and, all of that stuff. And we went to a cigar bar, Trevor's Cigar Bar in Phoenix, and that was wild. I had a whole bunch of old fashions, and they had a huge wood-fired oven that they were cooking pizzas in, proper pizzas. So that was really tasty. But I had a half a piece of pizza. I try not to eat too much bread anymore, but I had to dig in and have the pizza. So.
Did you go to like any of the famous restaurants there, like Bianca Pizzeria and with Chris Bianca, and wait the 3 hours to get a piece of pizza and all that kind of stuff?
I was with several chefs, and we did nothing of the sort. We met Fat Kid Snacks. He's on Instagram, Fat Kid Snacks. We met him at a brewery with Kendrick Barbecue. He stopped by. So we got to hang out with Kendrick Barbecue for a bit. And then Fat Kid Snacks invited us to his house. He's got a pool and a hot tub. And as soon as he said hot tub and cigars, I was into that. And then we stopped Costco, and we just cooked our heart out for him and his family. And he had a whole bunch of friends show up and did that whole thing all over again. And I got to sit in the hot tub until 1 o'clock in the morning when I had to get to the airport. So, bada boom, bada bing, baby.
Sounds like a day in the life.
That's it. So, yeah, I had a blast.
Oh, where did you get to sleep? You said you slept for 2 hours before you went to the airport. Did you go back to the hotel and sleep?
So 1 to 3, and then I went to the... For some reason, I cannot say Scottsdale. It comes up with a different S word every time. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for following along. After the Cook episode, whatever this was fantastic with Chef David Rose, my man, the Barbecue Buddha. Make sure you hit the bell, do the things, click the likes, subscribe, get in the comments. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think of this. If your grandmother isn't subscribed to our channel yet, I'm going to slap you the next time I see you. So get your grandmother to subscribe, your mom, your dad, everybody, right? Tell your dentist about us, because that's it. Sharing is caring, and we need care from you. So come on, get on it, all right, people? Buddha?
Get on it, people. Yeah, I mean, you summed it up. This is a labor of love for Mel and I. We love working together, and we love making you all laugh and entertain, and we want to continue going forward. And to do that, it depends on people just like you. So hit that subscribe button. Pass this to your friends. Leave a comment. Make sure to watch this or listen to it several times. We do this for you, so give it back to us for us.
Peace out. A-Town.